Welcome back. This week, Contention, we've got wide receivers heading out west. We've got Derrick Rose cleared to play, but not cleared mentally, and Yankees great Mariano Rivera retiring at the end of the season. Keep it locked. It's another episode of Phirst Contention.
Let's get this party started.
Coverage tight, spotlight on tomorrow. Who you with? Trust, you'll be delighted that you followed. At Phirst Contention, the invention. We debate sports, of course we should mention. What's that? We cover games, we don't play suspensions. We 100, so if your star's missing, we let you know your squad surely gone fishing. We never fish though, no, not our motto. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention.
Welcome again. We are back at it. I am your host, Ty Sosina. Joining us, you know a couple of the faces. Here we've got Steve Davis.
What's going on, everybody? Strive higher every day.
We've got Marvin Banks. Say what's up, Pops.
Yo, hola, senors and senoritas. Ooh.
And back again, hasn't been on the show since last season. Damola Agunape, welcome back, sir.
Good to be back. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for me to get up in that.
All right, let's do it. As we said, we've got receivers taking their talents out west. We've got the 22nd pick in the 09 draft, Percy Harvin, Rookie of the Year. He has been traded to the Seahawks. You also have the 54th pick in 2003 and 2003 Rookie of the Year, Anquan Boldin, traded from the Super Bowl champion Ravens to the 49ers. I mean, let's hear your thoughts. There's a lot of things going on. Free agency starts tomorrow, but still, things are kicking off. I mean, Marv, tell us how you feel about these moves.
Well, it's already bad enough that the Vikings already didn't have an offense. Now they just lose their second best offensive player for absolutely nothing. I feel sorry for AP. He can't take handoffs, throw the pass, kick field goals, and play defense by himself. But the more interesting move is that Anquan Boldin went for only a 6th-round pick. That's it? And Joe Flacco's losing one of his main weapons? I think that contract was already a little overrated. Now you're losing one of his best weapons now? It doesn't look too bright for the Ravens and for the Vikings moving forward, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, Steve, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so the San Francisco and Seattle just got significantly better just with these two additions. Percy Harvin can do everything that they want as far as spreading the field, going as a big play threat. He can play the slot. He can play outside. He can do anything they want. And he's back in tandem with Sidney Rice, so that they did with Brett Favre. I mean, you saw how they played together when they were together, so that's a good thing. Then you got Anquan Boldin going to San Francisco. 6th round? Like, come on now. He's worth more than that, but Kaepernick got to be ecstatic right now. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Damola, I mean, you are pretty much our residential expert on everything Minnesota Vikings. What are your thoughts on what your team had did to a person who was potentially an MVP candidate before his injury?
You know, what I want to focus on is the respect or lack of respect that NFL general managers have for skill players. The fact that you can release who possibly or arguably was the Super Bowl MVP in Anquan Boldin or the playoff MVP in Anquan Boldin for a 6th-round pick, and you can get rid of Percy Harvin. I know there was some complaints about him for the picks that the Vikings got. Goes to show you that GMs really feel like they can fill these spots with free agents, with undrafted free agents, or with late-round picks. You don't see quarterbacks being picked up in free agency as undrafted agents and making teams and making rosters and starting, but you see that with running backs and receivers, and I just think that that's the way of the NFL now, is that receivers and running backs are a dime a dozen. It doesn't matter if we, at the end of the day, we got to pay our quarterbacks, and if we have to get rid of the receivers and the running backs to do it, we're going to do it, and it's a travesty. It really is. It's upsetting. There's no loyalty. And I hate to see it go this way.
All right. I mean, peeking into the future, you mentioned upsetting. Real quick, They finished second in NFC North this season. What do you think this trade does for the Minnesota Vikings?
Maybe Adrian Peterson has another load to carry because there's no other weapon on the offense, and they're going to try to get Tavon Austin, which is kind of sketchy to me because he's small, so he can only do things in the return game for me right now. But I don't know.
Mark, what you think?
Jadeveon Clowney is going to look nice in the Vikings uniform next year.
All right.
This is the thing, is that it's not over yet for the Vikings. They still have their draft picks. Percy Harvin was injury prone. Fact of the matter is he's been hurt almost every season, from his migraines to the ankle injury this past season. He is an injury prone receiver, and in a league that's dominated by speed and dominated by staying healthy, I can see the reasoning for wanting to unload him and possibly get two good draft picks in this year's NFL draft. So is there a future there? Is there a possibility? I mean, they made the playoffs with missing Percy Harvin for the last half of the season. There's no reason they can't do it again, and now they can actually retool and build a roster with two quality draft picks. So it's still possible.
3-13 next year.
Hey, we were down on them this year, and they made it to the playoffs.
You're going to eat those words, Mark.
And it was all because of Adrian.
And Adrian Peterson came off of ACL. They'll put 15 men in the box. Don't worry about it. They got this covered this year.
It wasn't just Adrian Peterson. It was the offensive line. And when the offensive line plays well, they can protect Christian Ponder. All they need to do is be able to protect Christian Ponder enough. He needs to not make mistakes, and Adrian Peterson's going to do the job. It's not just Adrian Peterson. It's Adrian Peterson, the offensive line, and every piece of the line is coming back again.
We know what the Vikings are. Let's move from the field to the
Of course you do, Bears.
I'm awake now.
Of course the Bears do. You know exactly who we are.
All right.
We are who you thought we were.
Speaking of the Bears, we're going to Chicago. 2012 MVP. Or 2011 MVP, my apologies, Derrick Rose tore his ACL the opening round of the playoffs last year, surgery in May, and he has finally been cleared to return to action, but he said he's not ready mentally and he won't feel like returning until he can dunk. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's good that the organization is letting him take his time to return, or do you think he needs to be on the court with the Bulls, who struggle offensively right now?
I think that he should sit out this whole year. Reason being is because with them, they're not going to beat the Heat anyway. Not with the roster that they assembled. You might as well just bring another title down to South Beach. So why not let him get a year underneath his belt, let the Bulls amnesty Carlos Boozer, see if they can make a couple of different trade options and bring in a couple of different pieces to improve that roster. Just with the team they have built right now, that team is not built for the long haul. Luol Deng's contract come off the books in a couple of years. I think that's when they could really start making a move for the future, where they could bring in maybe another superstar to help battle the Beatles or the Heatles down in South Beach.
All right, let's go to you, Demola.
When the Nationals wanted to sit Strasburg going into the MLB playoffs, we saw both sides, right? We saw pro for sitting him, and we saw cons for not sitting him. And the argument was that the Nationals had a shot at winning a title, of winning of a championship. Chicago has no shot at winning a championship, and we're asking Derrick Rose to come back from an ACL injury. They have no shot of winning a championship. None. Not a snowball's chance in hell. And we're asking him to come, and we're saying you should come back. This is the most ridiculous. Why are we even having this argument? It's okay for Strasburg to sit out, for the Nationals to sit him out, but on the other hand, because he wants some excitement and some dubs with Derrick Rose, and the Bulls are at best will finish 4th or 5th in the East, we're asking him to come back. This is the most preposterous thing I've ever heard.
All right.
Well, this is the pressures that come with social media. I mean, if you look at the beginning of the playoffs last year, they had the return of Derrick Rose, making it seem like it's inevitable for him to come back and save the city of Chicago. Then you got his brother speaking out about how they're not making moves to kind of improve the team. So the spotlight is on Derrick Rose. The doctor has cleared him to play, and everybody's anticipating his return into the NBA. Yes, it will be good for the NBA as a whole, not just for Chicago, but as far as Derrick Rose's health I believe he shouldn't come back just because there is no chance that they're going to beat Miami. But I believe it will be a good thing just to kind of see that he still will have some more ability to kind of play if he just gets a few games in and maybe sit out the playoffs or something like that. But
so he can tear his other ACL?
No.
For what reason? He can play at the local rec. He can, or with his son or something.
They're paying the man
Why
to
in the
play.
world does he need to play
The
in a
doctor
game?
cleared him. The doctor should have never came out and said he was cleared to play if they weren't thinking about him going to play this year. That's the thing. That's the pressure that's added into this. So I feel like he needs to play at least some portion of this season just so he can get that monkey off his back and say, okay, I can still do that and come into next year and just dominate.
Steve, how many times does the Minnesota Gophers athletic staff and Ed Lockery clear you to play and you know damn well if you were not ready to play?
Football is a different sport. Everybody's cleared to play in football.
So you're better. So what you're saying is that your health is less important than his health because you're a football player. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, because football players, they don't care about injuries. They just want to play. Basketball, you got to think about it because, this is you need your knees. You need to jump, especially with, Derrick Rose. He's an explosive player. He needs that.
Good arguments all around. Good arguments all around. If y'all ain't going to fight, man, we can't stay on this topic. But one could argue, as long as the Heat core stays intact, are the Bulls stand a chance to beating them anyway? So, I mean, he can sit out as long as the Heat are a team, or he can play now, and, I mean, they won't have a chance to win anyways. But let's move on to baseball. Mariano Rivera, 43 years old. After 18 seasons, he's saying that this year is going to be his last. Got a trend of ACLs. He tore his ACL last year doing some fielding drills, and so he is coming back. He's going to call it quits after this year, but he wishes Steinbrenner could see him. Your thoughts on Rivera, his legacy, and what he could potentially do for the Yankees this season? We'll start with DeMo this time.
Let's see. Rivera, 12-time All-Star, a 5-time World Series champ. He's been playing professional baseball since 1990. For 23 years, 1990, 95 minors, 95 majors, up until this season. He is the best closer in the history of the majors, period. The next closest player is probably Rich the Goose, and he only has 310 saves, and Mariano Rivera has 608 saves. I mean, his statistics are crazy. So whatever he wants to do, he has the right to do. I have no argument. All I can do is stand up when he throws his last pitch, give him a round of applause, bow, and be thankful that I witnessed greatness in my lifetime.
Well said, well said. Banks.
I mean, everybody knows about Mariano's legacy and things of that nature, but look at the Yankees as an organization have some big decisions coming up with Mariano retiring, with Jeter's retiring soon, with they're pushing A-Rod out the window sometime soon. The core of that team, which the Yankees as, will not be there for the future, and we all know how much the Yankees likes their bullpen and likes their farm system. So who is going to be that next great Yankee to really step up to say, wow, that 42 not only symbolizes Jackie Robinson, but also symbolizes Mariano Rivera too as well.
Wow, well said.
Steve?
Yeah, I just want to say I commend him for coming back this year and trying to go out on his own terms instead of going out with an injury. Obviously, he's maybe trying to take a page out of Ray Lewis's book and announce his retirement before the season and maybe get some motivation for the Yankees. But
maybe get the eye black.
Obviously, I don't believe the Yankees are going to make it to the World Series because if you look at the Angels, they're just stacked, and I just feel like this is their year. But you can't argue his legacy and what he's done for the game of baseball. No argument about being the best closer ever in baseball right now. So, I look forward to the day that he throws his last pitch.
The difference between Ray Lewis and Mariano Rivera is that no injury upon me shall prosper.
Oh, here we go. Does Mariano look at his team and pump him up and tell him, look at the person standing next to you and do what you do for that person? Can you feel it in your chest? Because James 23 says, I'm not going to put the Bible incorrect. We are out of time. We are out of time. Thank you all for watching. One thing's for sure, all eyes will be on New York to see what Mariano Rivera does, as he calls it quits. For Demola, thank you for coming back. For Marv and Steve, I am Ty Sosina signing off. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter. Follow our channel on YouTube. Like us. Send us questions. We will debate your topics. Signing out. Trey's up.
Ride with Phirst Contention, that's full throttle in. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. Game face grit, like born for playoffs. Say it all in small time like payoff.